Today, we're breaking down a stunning account of galactic conflict, one where a species that everyone underestimated gets pushed to the very edge of extinction and unleashes something the universe was just not prepared for. This question, right here, is the absolute heart of the story. You see, the entire galaxy thought they had humanity all figured out. And oh, were they about to learn how devastatingly wrong they were. So when humanity first shows up on the galactic stage, this is basically their report card from the Council. Look at the language here. Unremarkable, volatile. They're seen as this messy, dishonorable species. But then you see that little footnote. A non-apex predator that somehow clawed its way to space? That was a statistical anomaly. A tiny little warning sign that maybe, just maybe, there was something stubborn hiding under the surface. And for the next 27 years, humanity did everything it could to prove the Council right. They were just stuck in these endless, pointless internal wars. To everyone else looking in, it was like watching a train wreck in slow motion. And then, in year 27, it finally happened. The big one. An all-consuming civil war that left humanity exhausted, divided, and just completely vulnerable. And that kind of weakness, well, it doesn't just earn you scorn. It attracts predators. You have to picture the Traxi just watching, patiently. They saw a species that fought itself, that had no honor, and they made a cold, simple calculation. With humanity at its absolute weakest, this wasn't even going to be a war. It was going to be pest control, an easy, profitable conquest. So, this is the before picture. 100%, the sum of everything humanity had achieved. A small, sure, but whole interstellar civilization. All of it was about to be tested. And this is just 6 weeks later. I mean, look at that. A total catastrophic collapse. The Traxi didn't just invade. They tore through human space like it was nothing, conquering nearly 3/4 of their territory in less than 2 months. The cost of that collapse was just, it's hard to even wrap your head around. 16 billion dead. The source material notes that this number was so huge, it literally broke the most advanced casualty calculators the galaxy had, a loss on a scale that was basically incomprehensible. So, facing total annihilation, humanity goes begging to the Galactic Council for help, and this was the answer they got. The galaxy just turned its back. In fact, some races saw a business opportunity and started selling weapons and supplies to the Traxi. Humanity was completely, utterly alone. But right there, on the very edge of extinction, with absolutely no hope and no allies, something snapped, a change so deep, so profound, that no analyst, no historian, and certainly no Traxi general could have ever seen it coming. Humanity did the one thing nobody thought was possible. They united. All that hatred, all that infighting that had defined them for decades, it just vanished. Gone. The Traxi had made a fatal mistake. They had given humanity a common enemy. And just like that, their unstoppable invasion slammed into a solid brick wall of pure, stubborn resolve. This was it. This was the entire explanation the human high command gave for how they stopped the most powerful military in the sector. 3 simple words that were about to rewrite the rules of galactic warfare. So, what did it mean? Well, it was a doctrine the galaxy had never even dreamed of. It wasn't about clever tactics or fancy technology. It was built on pure brute force defiance, a strategy so completely insane that it was terrifying. And this was the brutal, horrifying cycle. First, humanity would pay an unthinkable price in lives to take back a single planet. Then, instead of pushing forward, they'd turn it into a fortress, a meat grinder, and just wait. They'd force the Traxi to bleed themselves dry against impossible defenses, and only when the attackers were exhausted and broken would the humans finally counterattack. It was madness. And my God, it was working. So 6 years of this brutal, grinding war go by, and now the shoe is on the other foot. The Traxi are losing, facing their own extinction. So in a panic, the Galactic Council, yep, the same one that left humanity to die, scrambles to organize peace talks. And to everyone's shock, the humans actually agree to show up. The scene at the table must have been incredibly tense. The human delegates are the picture of calm. They're reasonable, they're articulate, but there's this one chilling detail. They never once make eye contact with the Traxi ambassadors. they act like they're not even in the room.
And then, thinking this is just a normal negotiation, the Traxi ambassador makes his final fatal mistake. He has the nerve to invoke galactic law demanding that humanity pay reparations for the Traxi territory they now occupied. And the room goes dead silent. The human delegate's voice isn't angry. It's not loud. It's cold. Cold enough to freeze a star. All that diplomatic charm was gone, replaced by something ancient and incredibly dangerous. The human delegation just stands up and walks out. They promise a formal response in 1 hour. The entire galaxy is holding its breath, waiting to see what happens.
Humanity's answer didn't come in a message. It came as a broadcast to every screen in the galaxy. On one side, you see the human leader's face with this terrifyingly calm smile. On the other side, a live feed of the Traxi homeworld, now completely surrounded by every single warship in the human military. As the galaxy watches in absolute horror, the human fleet just opens fire, incinerating the planet. The human leader then speaks, and his voice is chillingly conversational. He calls the total annihilation of an entire species a compromise for the 16 billion humans they lost.
The Traxi were gone, not defeated, erased. In response to this, the Galactic Council immediately declares war on humanity. So, the Traxi human war was over. The Council human war had just begun.
But the Council was no longer this big, unified power. Within just 2 weeks, 4 member races, totally disgusted by the Council's original cowardice, defected. They officially allied themselves with humanity. The galactic order that had stood for millennia just shattered. And this leaves us with this final, chilling quote from a member of one of those new allied races, getting ready for the first battle of this new war. Humanity didn't just survive. They remade the galaxy in their own image, an image painted in blood, fire, and a terrible, terrible resolve. And for their new friends, well, this was going to be fun.